Hello, my fellow hobbyists. Today we're going to talk about Refugium mud. It's manufactured by a couple of different companies, and we're going to learn, or at least try to learn something about it today. If you're wondering that how come the title says Refugium mud versus protein skimmer versus water change, well, that's because the manufacturers of Refugium mud claim that if you use their product in your Refugium, you won't need to add a skimmer or do water changes, or even if you do water changes, you'll be doing one every 4 to 6 months, and that would be enough. So hence the title. So this mud, the manufacturers claim that it is taken from the bottom of the ocean and then it is dried on land, and that's why when you buy it, it is in a sand form, it's dried. And they say that 80% of what you buy, which comes in a jar by the way, is dried mud from the bottom of the ocean, and the rest 20% is added trace elements and other materials inside. Now, we in this hobby, especially people who keep saltwater tanks, strive for one thing, which is creating an ecosystem which will take care of itself. And that's why we add live rock, live sand, and we pay premium money for it. Because anything live has live organisms in it, good bacteria, beneficial bacteria, whichever keeps our tanks clean and going. Meanwhile, the Refugium mud is not live. It's dry sand in a jar when you buy it, and you add water to it, and then you place it in your Refugium. So there goes the idea of adding live organisms or adding something to your tank that has live organisms that will keep your tank clean. Now you would say, okay, the manufacturers say that it is good for your tank, it keeps your tank clean, you don't have to do water changes, you don't have to add a skimmer. That means it has trace elements in it. Well, yeah, it does, but the trace elements does not come naturally. They are added, like the manufacturer's websites say. This is not my claim, this is what they say. Now, if they are added, basically what it means when you use this sand in your tank is you are basically dosing your system. Now, you know how you take vitamins. Some vitamins come in so slow release form, and some vitamins are fast acting. Well, basically what you're doing when you're using Refugium mud is you are slowly dosing your system. That's what it is. And people pay a premium price. It costs about $10 a pound. Now, people who use it buy it thinking that it is a magic product, and it is a wonder product. And one of the companies that manufactures it also gave it a name that makes it sound like it is a wonder or a magic product. I'm not going to name no names here. So there are plenty of videos on YouTube that proves that this product works, i.e. Refugium mud, and most of the videos show that once the video maker has started using the product, the microalgae in the refugium is growing like crazy. So they have before and after pictures, before and after videos showing that the growth has doubled or tripled or quadrupled in some videos. Hence, the product works. Well, if that's the case, I'm not denying that, okay, your algae growth has quadrupled or tripled or quadrupled. I'm not saying that it didn't happen, but your algae growth has gone up not because the algae suddenly started using or eating more nitrates in your tank or more dissolved organics in your tank because of the mud. That's why it's growing. It's only because a microalgae or Chlorpa or Cheromorpha, which is algae slash plant, it started to grow because you are rooting it in refugium mud, which has added trace elements which acts as a fertilizer for your algae. You know how you add Miracle Grow fertilizer to your plants in your garden, and suddenly your plants starts to grow bigger and better. Well, that's what you're doing to your algae when you're adding it, your algae, you're adding it to refugium mud. That's why your algae is growing. It is not because the refugium mud is doing something to the water in your display tank that is making the algae grow, and hence you have lower nitrates or lower dissolved materials. So that is my opinion. And now we're going to talk about refugium mud replacing skimmer and water changes. Well, skimmer, I think, is the second best thing, and I will tell you what's the first best thing later on. It's the second best thing that has happened to this hobby. Since the skimmers came into play, this hobby has changed quite a bit, and more people are successful keeping saltwater tanks because of skimmers. Now, you know how they say a picture is worth 1,000 words. There is no debate whether the skimmers work or not. And the reason why there is no debate is because you can see it with your own eyes. Right here is my hang on the back refugium. Not refugium. I would never do that. A hang on the back skimmer. And this dirt and gunk right here is 4 days worth of dirt and gunk. And if you see, my water is crystal clear. You can't even see there is water in the tank. And if this machine right here is pulling out that much gunk out of crystal clear water, I say that this is right here a wonder or a magic product. Now, you cannot come up with anything that's going to make me take out my skimmer. And for the manufacturers to claim that you don't need a skimmer if you put dry sand in with added trace elements, you won't need a skimmer. I think it is irresponsible for the manufacturers to make such a claim. Now, like I said, by using magic mud, Refugium mud, basically you are dosing your system. The same way you add calcium and alkalinity to your tank and magnesium and other trace elements to your tank, by adding the mud with added trace elements in it, not naturally, added trace elements, you are basically dosing your tank. That's all that you are doing. And the best thing that can happen or you can do to your tank is a water change. And the manufacturers of Refugium mud say you don't have to do water changes. That's like saying, hey, if you start using colon cleansers for yourself, you don't have to poop. The same way our bodies have beneficial bacteria and our food has trace elements that gives us energy and keeps our intestines and stomach clean, we still have to poop. So basically by doing water changes, you are taking poop out of the water. That's what you are doing. And you don't have to be a rocket science to know that in an aquarium where you have live fish and you're adding live food, hence you have poop in the water, if you're taking out some of the water and adding fresh water, that's the best thing you can do for your system. So those are my 2 cents about Refugium mud. Now, I'm not saying that Refugium mud doesn't do any good to your tank. Now, you can add anything to your sump and it will be helpful because, the same way you put dead rock in your tank and after a little while live organisms start to grow on it and that cleans water. So anything that you put in your Refugium is going to help you down the line. But for the manufacturer to claim that something that comes in a dry form, something that can be sitting on a shelf for months, something that is dry sand basically with added trace elements, if you put 1 inch of it in your sump, you don't have to have a skimmer and water change is irresponsible. Alright guys, once again those are my 2 cents. Hope this video can help you in any way. Thank you. Goodbye.